On the night of April 6, 2012, police officers responded to a disturbing call from a quiet neighborhood in Ohio. When they arrived, the house looked completely normal. The lights were still on. The front door was unlocked. But inside, something felt wrong. Sitting in the dining room was a table prepared for dinner. 3 plates, 3 glasses, 3 chairs. But according to neighbors, only one man lived there. And in the center of the table, officers found a sealed envelope. Written across the front were 4 words that would confuse investigators for years. The Devil's Invitation. Pause. What happened inside that house? May have started weeks earlier. The home belonged to Michael Carter, 61 years old, a retired mechanic who had spent most of his life working quietly in the same Ohio town. Neighbors described him as polite, reserved, and deeply religious, which is why the discovery inside his study shocked investigators. Books on ancient rituals, symbols copied from old folklore texts, and dozens of handwritten letters, addressed to someone no one could identify. But the most disturbing discovery was the final letter, a message written in shaky handwriting that read, "Tonight, I accept your invitation." Just 3 years earlier, Michael Carter's life looked very different. He lived with his wife Linda in the same quiet house. Sundays were spent at church. Evenings were spent together in the garage, fixing old cars. But in 2009, Linda died unexpectedly. Friends say Michael was never the same after that. He stopped attending church. He rarely left the house. Instead, he began searching for answers. Not in prayer, but in books. Books about the supernatural, ancient rituals, and one disturbing idea kept appearing in his notes: the belief that certain rituals could open a doorway between worlds. Investigators eventually recovered 14 letters from Michael's desk, each one written over several months, all addressed to the same unknown recipient. The early letters sounded like desperate prayers, Michael begging for a chance to see his wife again. But over time, the tone changed. One letter read, "If you bring her back, I will accept your invitation." Another read, "Tell me what you require, and it will be done." And finally, the last letter, the one written on the night of April 6th. "Tonight, I am ready." According to investigators, Michael spent hours preparing his house that evening. The dining table was carefully arranged, 3 chairs placed around it, one for himself, one for the wife he hoped to see again, and one for whatever accepted his invitation. What happened next remains a mystery, because sometime during the night, Michael Carter vanished. Police searched the entire house. There were no signs of forced entry, no evidence of a struggle. But beneath the dining table, investigators noticed something strange: a symbol, drawn in ash across the wooden floor. Detectives initially believed Michael had staged the entire scene before disappearing voluntarily. Perhaps grief had pushed him into a psychological breakdown. But one detail complicated the investigation. At exactly 2:17 a.m., a neighbor reported hearing voices inside the house. 2 voices. And Michael lived alone. 6 weeks later, investigators made one final discovery. Hidden beneath the floorboards of the house was a notebook filled with ritual instructions. On the final page, one sentence stood alone, written in shaky handwriting: "If you accept the devil's invitation, he accepts you." Michael Carter was never seen again. The Carter house remained empty for years, until a new family moved in during 2018. While renovating the dining room, they discovered something hidden inside the wall: a sealed envelope, written on the front, "For the next guest." Pause. Inside was a single sentence: "If you ever feel alone, set the table for 3. Was Michael Carter simply a grieving man who lost his grip on reality? Or did something truly answer his invitation that night? What do you think happened inside that house? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the Unspoken Room, because the next story may be even darker.